Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Bob Bakert, and we're here with Joe Finn. And before we get started, I'd like to remind you that we'd like you to subscribe to our channel, subscribe to the magazine, and like us on Facebook and check us out on Instagram. And if you really want to, you can buy a shirt that says JGT on it, Jazz Guitar Today, or you can get a mug. See, I'm hawking my wares. It helps support what we're doing around here. So we're here today with Joe Finn, who has come to my attention through a variety of ways. One of them being Jimmy Bruno. We don't try to do history lessons around here about where you came from and what you've done and all that. We kind of like to talk to people about what they're doing today. There's enough stuff on your website and all over the place for people to check out, that you were from Hartford, Connecticut originally, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so we're going to kind of skip over all of that and talk a little bit about guitar and what you're doing now and what's going on in your world. And we're really glad that you took the time today to come and talk to us. We really appreciate it. One of the things that is really cool about what you do is not only can you play, and as evidenced by all kinds of videos, and you've got several projects that people can avail themselves of. They can purchase your CDs, et cetera, on your website. But you're also you're a historian, if you will. I mean, I've been watching all of your posts and all over the place about this guitar player and that guitar player and this and these photographs and all that. And I mean, that's very, very cool. We really appreciate that. But let's talk about what you're doing right now. What's going on with you? What are you up to? Where are you living? What's life like for you? As COVID was going to wind down, but apparently it's not going to. And
I don't know, Bob. First of all, thank you so much for including me in your series of interviews. I'm very happy to be with you today. I share your feelings about COVID. It really it took a big chunk out of the music business in 2020. All our gigs were canceled. I suddenly had a lot of time on my hands. I like to write music. So I didn't typically have all the time I like to devote to the writing of music because I play the guitar all the time.
Sure.
Playing 4 gigs a week. And so I started writing, and I came up with enough material to record a new album, which I got done in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we're still working on the promotional end of that right now. And that's a lot of work. It's busy. And we just got it played it's being played on all these radio stations, including Jazz After Hours, which I'm very proud of that because that's the big jazz radio show in the world. And it's nice to be included on that show. They focus mostly on new material. So I'm glad.
So what's the title of this newest project?
The new album is called As Luck Would Have It. It is a quintet with vibes and guitar, piano, bass, and drums, and it's all original compositions by me.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm very, very happy to have had the time to be able to do that. With given my my career as a professional musician and instructor, composition for me takes a long time. So,
let's talk about that a little bit because so many guys. I mean, they don't do many originals. A lot of people are playing, their version of the classics, especially in jazz guitar because the market that's sort of what the market is demanded quite whatever market there is. So tell us a little bit about your original music and how you feel it differentiates you as a player, and what about your compositions are unique to you. You've been an opportunity to tell us why are you a cool guy, Joe?
I try to do a lot of my writing away from the guitar. I think as a guitarist, your brain is kind of locked into certain patterns. Your hands are kind of locked into certain things, and I want to get away from that way of thinking and just come up with melodies off the top of my head. And then I'll pick up the guitar and I'll try to play a couple of chords. I'll come up with a melody, boodle-a-dee-ba-doo-bop, and then I'll play some chords on the guitar and see what I can develop that way.
Right.
And actually, one of the songs on the album came to me in my sleep. I woke up one morning with this song in my head, and I said, "Wow, that's a great melody. Where did that come from?" And I thought I probably hadn't written it. I thought I probably heard it 3 weeks before, and it just came back to me. But I had some of the guys in the band listen to it, and they said, "No, we never heard that before, any of us." So I said, "Okay, it must be original." So that's sort of thing I do. And then, I work on the computer, the notation software.
Sure.
I use Encore, and that's a compositional tool. I work on the keyboard behind me. I just try to lay down a few chords, and I'll hum a couple of melodies and see if I can come up with something I like.
So when you're composing like this, so you're putting it's in your head, then to the guitar. You're not like on a keyboard and doing it that way, or you're literally.
It's usually a mental process initially. I think a lot of us, a lot of musicians have music happening in their head all the time.
Yeah,
and
well,
there's always some kind of a little melody going on in the background, and if you develop some of those things in an original fashion, then you can use your harmonic sense on your instrument, and you can come up with some way of putting the melodies in a harmonic context.
Let me tell you, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Then you have a composition. That's basically it. But it does take me, I like to have a block of say 4 hours to do that. And that's kind of tough. Here we are on Zoom. I did tons of Zoom guitar lessons in 2020. Because all the students were afraid to come, and everybody's afraid. And so we did a lot of that. And but you really have to have that dedicated 4 hours. And I mean, 7 days a week. And that's a process. That's what it takes. And
understood.
That's the kind of time I had.
Well, I'll tell you, I haven't told this story in a long, long time because nobody would have cared. But I used to write a lot of songs. I mean, like pop songs and stuff like that. And I still write songs, about 1 or 2 a year, I guess. Anyway, so I got this incredible idea in my head in my sleep. And I used to keep a pad of paper next to the bed. And I woke up at whatever time it was in the morning, 2:30, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, or whatever it was. And I wrote out these changes and some lyrics and all that. And I went, oh man, this is freaking brilliant. I can't believe, God has blessed me. I was like going crazy. I woke up in the morning, I had written yesterday.
There you go.
Great song.
You came up with great.
Oh my God, yeah. Boy, that's a great melody. I mean, it was just like, crazy. No doubt about it. Most recorded song of all time, I think. Yeah. Anyway, very, very, very cool. So so all of the new record is all original.
Right.
And so you're playing some voicings on the on that guitar. That looks like is that a Heritage? Is that what that is?
Yeah, this is a Heritage Golden Eagle.
Golden Eagle. I used to have one of those actually.
Oh yeah, it's a real beauty.
Oh yeah, they're nice.
This is one that was built in 1993. I found it in a pawn shop in Seattle online. I'm one of these guys that's always looking online for guitar bargains.
Right, yeah.
I talked to this lady at the pawn shop and I said, well, okay, how are you going to send it to me? She says, I'm going to wrap it in bubble wrap and put it in FedEx. And I said, oh, no, you're not.
Yeah.
So I had a flight case and I sent her the empty flight case.
Right.
UPS. And I said, now you put the guitar in the flight case,
right.
Then you put it in the cardboard box with packing peanuts and send it to me. And yeah, it came in one piece. It's in great shape.
So let's get back to your music and we'll talk about the guitar in a little bit. So you're playing, playing a lot of close voicings and stuff like that. I mean, tell us a little bit about the hallmark of your playing. What do you feel like is what sort of is Joe Finn playing, if you will? What is it? You had a great quote. It was somebody that, compared to you as a fresh voice. I mean, these go back, it might have even been Jimmy, but, as a fresh voice, Barney Kessel, Herb Ellis, just blah, 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 blah. But of course, we all want to be more than our influences.
Yeah, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about, and if you can demonstrate to us a little bit about things that you go, well, this is kind of this is a me thing. This is something that, that I created, and this is what I do, and it's something I play a lot.
I played a lot of blues as a kid. So a lot of what I do has built on that background.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to Kenny Burrell and Joe Pass and Pat Martino a
Sure.
lot, Wes Montgomery a lot. So that's kind of the foundation of what I'm doing. And but I gradually transitioned to fingerstyle guitar. So I love that sound.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big part of my my playing. And I try to play with my thumb also. That's another great sound. But this is the way Wes Montgomery played.
Mm-hmm.
So that's part of it. And then I love Pat Martino, and he always played with one of these, a guitar pick. So I've
Right.
always played with a guitar pick. And so it's kind of an amalgamation of all these influences. My original writing, as I say, I have tried to write away from the guitar,
Mm-hmm.
not get locked into a lot of the ways that I play the guitar.
Right.
So I try, and I'm the world's worst piano player, which is very helpful.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. I've got you beat. Yeah.
So when I'm at the keyboard, I could just knock out some chords and just see what that suggests to me melodically, and then I'll just hum it or sing it, and then the guitar will come back into the equation a little later. So, but George Benson was a big influence. He's obviously got a great facility with a guitar pick, almost like nobody else really. Pat Martino has a lot of facility with a guitar pick, and that's basically what I like to play.
Do you like palm the pick when you play with your thumb, or do you just put the pick down, or how do you go about that?
I put it down. I leave
down.
it on my knee. Over the years, I play all kinds of solo guitar gigs.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all fingers.
Right.
Except for 2 or 3 songs. If I do a 3 or 4 hour solo gig, it's all fingers. So I've really gone a long way in that direction also.
Right. What's your favorite genre? I mean, what's your favorite way to play? Is it solo? Is it quartet? Is it you and what is it that you, if someone says to you, hey, we want you to come and put on a show, sky's the limit, whatever you want to do, how do you want to present yourself?
Well, it's like trying to identify your favorite child.
Oh, listen, I didn't say it was an easy question.
I dearly love playing solo guitar.
Mm-hmm.
I recorded a solo guitar album years ago. I love playing in combos, and like the combo on the new record is a quintet with vibes and piano. And then I've also done a lot of I've played in a lot of big bands over the years.
Wow.
I love sitting in the rhythm section and just chunking it out and playing time with the drums. It's so beautiful. It's so much fun. And so, any of those things, I've done concerts with all 3 of those types of things. The concerts that I have coming up are, with the group that played on the album.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, these days, that's sort of what people are identifying me with is the latest project.
So tell us a little bit about your schedule. What kind of shows you have coming up? Where are they? What's coming up there?
The one that I'm most concerned with is in Schenectady, New York.
Mm-hmm.
We have there's a concert series called Jazz on J,
mm-hmm.
and my quintet will be playing a 90-minute show on that in that schedule in 2 weeks.
Now, I happen to know that you do sing from time to time, or have.
Yeah, I have.
Does any of this include vocals?
That's kind of fallen by the wayside.
Right.
With the lockdown, that really hurt me. But I started working as a full-time professional musician when I graduated from college in 1975,
Right.
and we played 6 and 7 nights a week for years.
I was right there with you.
And well, everybody had music every night.
Yep.
All the bars, all the hotels, everybody was having music.
I did that for 15 years. I
Oh,
played.
you got me by 5.
Oh,
But
well,
anyway,
I played, you know, any place that had me, including, I think towards the end, I think I played a Walmart opening. What can I tell you?
wow.
Well, we would play. I mean, you can appreciate this. We would play. And a lot of guys that are going to be watching this have no idea what we're talking about. But back in the day, and what you're talking about is you know, every hotel, every restaurant, every bar, I mean, you had music, live music, 5, 6 nights a week. And there were people, myself included, I'm you as well. That's how we made our living. I didn't teach,
No,
didn't
you
teach
couldn't.
at all.
No time.
No, that's how I made my living. But I would play if I could get a happy hour gig and, you know, and play from 5 to 7 and then make the nighttime gig from 8 until midnight or whatever it was. I would do that. If I got an extra gig on, like a Monday night off or a Sunday night off or whatever. Yep. If there was a wedding on a Saturday, I mean, I was playing all of the time. And they weren't one-off gigs because the thing that paid the bills, paid the mortgage and the car payments and all that kind of stuff, put the food in was the 5 and 6 night a week gig at the same place. And you would be there, correct me if I'm wrong, you'd be there for 4 or 5, 6 months at a time, sometimes longer.
Oh, yeah, sure.
They're long-term contracts and you'd build up an audience and that.
Yeah.
So that's what you're talking about.
Absolutely. I know people of our generation understand this, but people of today's generation, they're not really familiar with establishments that are having music every night.
No.
And I think those days are well behind us.
Yeah.
And it's a completely different scene today. So
I don't know that that's a bad thing for musical development, to be honest with you. It's not a good thing in terms of employment. But,
right.
I will admit, and I don't know if you, I mean, we ended up playing a lot of the same music over and over again. And there were nights when, I hate to say it, but it's true, we kind of phoned it in. You know, if we didn't see an audience that was really into it and paying attention, we'd kind of phone it in. And I think that's a downward spiral, to be honest with you, because if the audience, you never know who's in the audience. And a friend of mine once, I was playing a little gig not that long ago, maybe about 10 years ago, and I made the comment that there wasn't a whole lot of people in the place, and I was really disappointed. And I said to them over the microphone, I said, "Well, since there's nobody here, we'll do this and we'll do that, And I meant it as, to bring the audience into, to make and she gave me a ration of shit like you wouldn't believe. What do you mean? When I got off the stage, what do you mean there's nobody here? I'm here. These people are taking up their time in their life, to be here. So you just never know who's in the audience. And there are many times when you would play for somebody ends up being somebody that, can give you a future gig or a good contact or whatever. So,
Sure.
so at any rate, so keep going. I'm listening. Well, I was talking, but now I'm listening.
Well, after 10 years of that sort of work, I had met my wife at that point. I was working in Wisconsin where she grew up. And we decided to get married, and then we moved back here to upstate New York, where I just decided to concentrate on local jazz gigs
Mm-hmm.
and the establishment of my private teaching practice. So,
Right.
And that's worked out just fine. There's enough work in this area to keep me fairly busy, and there are plenty of students. So yeah, it's just fine.
Are you still teaching a lot?
Not as much as I used to. It's the teaching roster really hasn't come all the way back. A lot of people, I guess they just moved on to other things, and they're not as interested as they used to be. Maybe, I'm not sure.
Do you get do you do a lot of Zoom teaching? I mean, the teaching that you do, are you picking up students from around the country?
I had done a lot of Zoom teaching,
Yeah.
Especially during the lockdown. Now it's less Zoom teaching and more live teaching.
Yeah.
The live
Okay.
teaching is better, obviously. With the Zoom connection, there's always a little latency in the signal.
Right.
And if I say, okay, now you play your part and I'm going to play like this,
Right.
that doesn't quite sync up. So you know, but it's better than nothing. But
Well,
I greatly prefer the live face-to-face interaction with the student.
you were talking earlier. I'm jumping all over the place with you right now. Yeah, I mean, I obviously it's better. I study a couple of different things, and I said I'm not going to do it anymore virtually. It needs to be in person. It's a performance type thing, and it needs to be in person. But at any rate, you were talking about big band before,
Yeah.
and how you like to play big band and sit in the rhythm section and chunk out the chords, I think, quote unquote. And we did a little, the fellow that plays guitar for the Count Basie Orchestra currently today, not Freddie Green, but currently today.
Ray Matthews.
Exactly. He's been in the magazine, and he does not play with an amplifier.
I know.
that,
He's a great player.
that blows me away. He does not play with an amplifier in a big band, and I guess the action must be an inch off the neck or something to to get that arch top to cut.
I haven't seen his guitar up close. When I met him, he gave me a wonderful solo guitar CD that he made. You've probably heard it. It is amazing.
Yeah.
This guy is a great player. And then he's also with the Count Basie Orchestra. And the times that I've heard him, they did position a microphone near the guitar.
Oh yeah, they use a microphone.
So there were times when they break it down to the rhythm section, you can hear what he's playing.
Right.
And he's very true to the Freddie Green idea.
So somebody comes to you and says, Joe, I really want to study with you. And I'm a rock blues guitar player. I mean, when I say blues, I'm not talking about jazz blues. I'm about 12 bar, 12 bar blues, and play a little country here and there. And I grew up playing folk music or whatever, and I want to become a jazz player. Hello there, puppy.
He's in the next room. So
there you go. No, that's fine. Where do you start him? I mean, what is your advice, or what, as you as a teacher, you take that guy? I'm a rock player. I play blues. I play rock and all of that. I play mostly pentatonic based, Claptonian, if you will, type playing. And I want to become a jazz player. I want to learn how to play stuff, the genre, if you will.
Right.
So where do you go?
The first thing I always say to everyone initially is I ask them to prepare something for me to listen to at the first lesson. And I usually say that it should be the most difficult thing that you can play well.
Oh, okay.
Now, this helps me evaluate the state of their development. And I know it's kind of vague, but it's intentional because it means something different to everybody.
Absolutely.
They'll come up with something. And if they, then I listen to them play, and then we take it from there. Now, as far as the rock blues players go, I hearken back to Kenny Burrell.
Right.
His big hit record was Chitlet's Con Carne.
Right.
And that's like a straight 12-bar blues with almost a little bit of a backbeat feel, a little bit of a rock feel.
Mm-hmm.
And that is kind of a transitional thing between that sort of thing. And then Kenny played a lot of shuffles. Most rock players can understand the shuffle beat. Mm-hmm. And then he also played a lot of swing. So he went from the backbeat style to the downbeat style. Now that's a little different. So, but it's kind of a stepping stone.
Can you demonstrate what you mean by that when you say backbeat style and then the downbeat style? Can you demonstrate a little bit of that?
Yeah, the Chitlet's Con Carne is like this. So I'm emphasizing the 2 beat. That's the backbeat. Mm-hmm. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Okay. Now that is a backbeat style, and rock is a backbeat style. Mm-hmm. A lot of the shuffles that you hear are kind of a backbeat style. That's kind of like the classic "I'm going to Kansas City" type of thing.
Right.
Kansas City, here I come. Okay, so now you have a shuffle beat. Now the next step would be a swing, a downbeat swing type rhythm, and that would be typified by say a Charlie Parker blues, like a Confirmation. The rhythm would be like this sort of thing. Okay, so and you can really in that case you really have to learn to follow the ride cymbal. 1, 2, 3, 4, ting, 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 ting. And then you have a little bit of syncopation happening. Get to that a little bit. But that's, to me, that's the primary difference between rock and jazz is rock, you emphasize the 2-beat, the backbeat. Jazz, you emphasize the downbeat. That's the 1-beat. So, and that's the big thing to, you know, if you're a rock blues player, to get over the hump into the world of jazz, you have to understand the rhythmic language.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So that's what I try to convey to students.
No, that's excellent. When I was a student at Georgia State University, I studied jazz guitar there. Cool. And when I was a student there, I used to say, you know what, this, you know, because I was older when I was doing it. You know, I said to anybody who listened to me that was on the faculty, but they're all younger than me, by the way. I said, you know what you guys should do? You should have a course in percussion for non-percussion majors, so that, you know, people understood the drum kit. Like what you're just talking about there, a lot of guitar players don't understand the language of the ride cymbal. They don't understand stuff that you're talking about. And understanding how the drum kit works and you know what to be listening for and how to play nicely with the drummer, because you know the drummer, you know, for some guys the drummer is just this guy back there, you know, and the guys that are hip, and you know, and the reason why we like certain guys and we're not crazy about other bands, we're not sure why, is because you know there truly is a conversation going on. So so I mean, obviously you're emphasizing that in your playing, because that was the first thing you talked about was the you know, the two different styles that you had outlined. So that, you know, that's excellent. We don't have a whole lot more time. These are short and quick. I wanted to bring up a couple more things. I want to talk about your guitar just a little bit. So you got a couple of different things that you play. Is this your main axe right now? The Heritage Golden Eagle?
I play this one every day. I use it especially on solo guitar gigs because it has a beautiful sound. Yep. It is made by the Heritage Guitar Company. It's, you know, there's the name.
I had one exactly like that, and honest to God, it was around that time frame, and I wouldn't be surprised if that was mine.
Yeah, it could be. I had another one like it, which had developed a problem. The fingerboard cracked, and so I got rid of that. This one is in great shape. I've also had other Heritage guitars that I really like a lot too.
Right. Yeah. What amplifier are you using?
Oh, I mostly use polytone amplifiers.
Still,
I have 5 of them.
Yeah.
2 of them live in the trunk of the car, and they get taken out to live gigs. They never come in the house. I got a couple more.
Which model is it that you take out?
102. The Mini Brute.
Mini Brute.
And the older Mini Brute. Those are the 2 that I use most of the time.
Right.
And then I have a 102 and another Mini Brute in the house.
Did you ever go to the NAMM show? Did you ever go to the LA NAMM show?
I've never been to one, no.
Well, I was in the business for 30 years, and I used to go to the NAMM show in LA every year for 30 years, from 1984 to, you know, to 2000, whatever that is. And you know, and in the Polytone booth, you had guys would come and play, and they would be guys like Joe Pass and Herb Ellis, and you know, all of the because he had every Polytone guy wrapped up. Carol Kay would come and jam. I mean, every major jazz player from LA was in that booth, and you could stand, you know, 5 feet away from them and listen to them jam for an hour at a time. It was
yeah, I'm sorry to miss that.
It was I got to admit, you know, I used to go because I had to work, but I always took time off to make sure I got by, and I would see, well, what time is Joe going to be here, you know, and because if Joe showed up, then everybody else showed up, you know, and you know, as you would imagine, there was a huge crowd around the booth, and
yeah,
and so it really is something special. So with the last few minutes, is there something you'd like to particularly get out there? We talked about your new project, which is, or, you know, the newest project, which is as luck would have it. And we'll try to get some artwork from you to, you know, show people you know, how they can get a hold of that. Are you interested in, you know, in getting more online teaching, or where are you at with that?
Oh yeah, I'm always open to working with new students.
Mhm.
You know, I certainly have openings for students.
Okay.
But I want to mention what you started out talking about my interest in history.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, thank you. You brought me back to one of the,
wanted to
yes.
mention-
You know what? Thank you. Go
Oh,
ahead.
you're welcome. I have a feature on my website that goes back to when it first started up about 22 years ago, called the Jazz Guitar Almanac.
Right.
And what I do is I write little. It's a list of birthdays of all the jazz guitar players that I could find,
Yep.
and I like to take little quotes from their interviews
Right.
and then make my little observations and comments about what that means in our lives as guitar players.
Right.
I've done a lot of that sort of thing. And I'm
Joe,
also very happy that you've invited me to do an article of that kind.
I've invited to actually do a series of articles of that kind. So if you should grace us with, with that, because
Oh, I'm very happy to do that.
you do a
You know,
great job with it.
I spend a lot of my time reading biographies and reading interviews,
Well,
especially
yeah,
of musicians.
it,
And I'm always interested in, you know, what someone like a Joe Pass, Wes Montgomery would have to say in their interview. And because I think that there are pearls of wisdom in there that
right.
you just can't find anymore now that they're gone. But you can still read the interviews and the biographies, and you get some insights that are just unbelievable.
Well, you know, and people can check that out at joefinn.net, right?
That's me.
JOEFINN.net. And I highly recommend you check that out because I liked it so much. Again, we invited Joe to become a member of our family and contribute, you know, be our historical guy, if you will, because he does an amazing job with it. And, you know, it's just fantastic. And the beauty of it is that you approach it from being a player. And I kind of, you know, I kind of think that's kind of special. And not that a non-player can't do a great job, but you know, I like the fact that you are a player. You know, you really know that, you know what's going on. And so, I mean, that makes it to me even that much more special.
Yeah.
Listen, joefinn.net, the new project again, as luck would have it. And we're going to be talking again. I mean, this isn't like, you know, one and done. We're going to, you'll hope you're a regular visitor to this. We're calling this more of a podcast,
Okay.
kind of a format. And we hope that you're a regular visitor. And it's a pleasure meeting you in person, if you will, quote unquote Zoom person. And I'm just really looking forward to getting to know you better. And your playing is exemplary, and people need to be checking you out. You have a lot of stuff on YouTube to be checking out. You got a video of you on YouTube that's like when you were about 20 years old.
Yeah, there are a couple old ones.
There's a couple old ones in there, and I'm going, oh my God, you know, it's man, that's I got socks older than that. Anyway, but but at any rate, it's really been nice, and I appreciate it. So for Jazz Guitar Today, and I'm Bob Bakert, Joe Finn, we appreciate you very much. You know, have a great rest of your day, and we'll just catch up with you later, Joe. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Bye-bye now.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.